The eagle has landed. Well, it is time to kick off the podcast again, and we are going to look at UFC Japan. We also want to talk about Bellator that happened at the weekend. They had some results, which I think are worth a talk. And obviously we're going to talk about the questions that we've had and with our answers, which I think will be different, but at the same time in depth. I think there's some fantastic questions from people at home. I'm doing fantastic myself. How are you doing, Will? How's life with you, bro?
All good. Just getting ready for Christmas. Which
That's you can't say the C word. You can't say the C word. We'll get taken off air.
I know. Unfortunately, the line of work I do, shit starts coming in October. So this time next week I'll be knee deep in Christmas toys and other things which I'm not thoroughly looking forward to. So so the less said about that, the better. But everything's good. Just looking forward to chatting about some of the fights from this past weekend.
I say we've not had Halloween yet. Come on.
No.
Gotta have Halloween first. It's disgusting. What was I going to say, bro? It's getting to that time of year. I know. I've seen it in shops already. Absolutely terrible. But yeah, let's go to UFC Japan. Not stereotyping at all there, kung fu and stuff. But it took a massive blow with Shogun getting the knee injury, and they had a logical replacement in Yushi Akami. Okay, so the main event which made a big difference, I think, having Shogun out, who was essentially the reason why he headlined that card, is because of his legacy, let's say, with Pride. So we'll talk about the card now, but before we do that, Will, I always forget to do this. Subscribe. The button down below, people. Click subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on iTunes, which we're on now, or SoundCloud, subscribe, whatever it is on there, follow. I don't know what the options are. I'm also going to add us on to, it's Podcast Addicts or something. Someone was tweeted us about it the other day. Yeah, I didn't even know about that one. I don't fucking know. So I will figure out how to get that sorted. I will do that as well. I'll get us on there. So please subscribe, people. The more you do, the more it helps us, because we're looking for feedback, positive or negative. We don't really mind. If it's not constructive negative feedback, then whistle and Dixie, you'll probably get a sarcastic comment back. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's kick off then. UFC Japan. The card itself, you and I both know it wasn't anything special, which was quite annoying as well. The timing that it was on, bro, that threw me off. I thought, get in there, be a Friday night card, awesome stuff. It was on at 2 in the fucking morning. What's all that about?
I know what they'd say. I came in from work about 1 o'clock, and the fights had literally have not even started yet. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
So no, it was. I said to myself I wasn't going to stay up and watch it, and then I'm looking at the clock, and it's 20 to 7 in the morning, and I'm still watching it. So it's sometimes when I just sit down and start watching, it's just like I can't help myself.
When you're a fight fan, yeah.
Yeah, but it turned out to be pretty solid. There was some fun aspects of the night, and overall it's just a pretty solid fight night card overall. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about. I'll tell you one fight that surprised me was Kondo against Chan Mi-jon. I thought Kondo was going to get pretty much starched in that fight, but she surprised me with that decision win.
Yeah, no, it seemed I liked Gion as well, but I thought there was definitely. I didn't expect to get outstruck so much by Kondo, and that was something that kind of surprised me. But again, pretty low-level girls for these kind of Asian cards, and I think we've got a couple more that's been added to Japan, which is pretty China, which is pretty low-level women's MMA. To be honest with you,
it is. It's all about marketing.
It's it turned out to be a pretty half decent fight. And I'm kind of talking shit here. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Wasn't great. It was just a kind of mediocre women's fight.
Yeah, because you had like decision wins really all in the prelim cards. It was. I'll tell you what. I was surprised with Abby getting the decision win against Julim. I thought Julim, to me, can't believe he has not really started to grow and develop as a striker. His range was poor. He was getting caught from someone who had a shorter range. He was too obvious with his setups. I was really let down in that by him, if I'm honest with you. And I think what lost him the fight was that, the last 20 seconds, I think it was, of the third round when he got rocked and dropped. And I don't see much growth in him. I'd be surprised if UFC even wants to bother keeping him around, because he's not done much himself. I think Abby's kind of got a bit of time to grow, even though I don't see him being anything special. He was pretty static as a striker, very kind of flat-footed, waiting to counter. I've got to be honest, you're not going to get much you're not going to get much in that division if you're going to just be like that.
No, it's Chung Yu Lim they should let him go.
Yeah.
This is the guy that main evented the UFC card. Remember, people forget about that, I think, as well. 3 years ago, he fought Tarek Safadine, and since then he's really went downhill. He beat Sato, who's not a good fighter, and then he's lost to Magny Perry and this guy is Daichi Abe. So, there's just, if they're going to say that, they're keeping Kylie Curran around. So if they're going to use it twice a year, then they could quite easily keep this guy around. There is talks of him going to Korea at some point. Well, maybe he has to go out there and win a couple of fights before they bring him back. But his time is well and truly past, I think, in the UFC. Because this Daichi guy, he's solid, but he's not great, and he's probably not even a true welterweight. He's a lightweight at heart. He's not big. So, it was interesting start to the card. Like the first 4 fights were all underdogs that won the fight as well, betting underdogs. So yeah.
Yeah, you had the surprise win in Anzani, who surprised me. I got to say, I think Luke just wasn't maybe on his game that day. He just looked a bit. I want to say like shell shocked, so to speak, or a bit flustered. He just didn't seem to have the rhythm, anything clicking for him. And again, Alex Moreno, it was a split decision, but he was just. I think he was outsmarted a bit by a very experienced opponent in Nakamura, because that's the thing about Nakamura. People don't quite sometimes understand. He may not be a household name in the world, but in mixed martial arts terms, he's a very, very suave, kind of smart, intellectual, kind of experienced fighter, and he can get those decision wins. Look at Mr. Breeze could only just get through him. So, I just think wit kind of won the battle there.
Yeah, he's very crafty. He's like one of those people that he has a game plan, he sticks to it, and he wins rounds through that. And he did. I think he's forever going to be, for as long as he's in the UFC, he's going to be a guy that wins a fight, loses a fight. It's shown in his UFC run that he won one, lost one, won one, lost one, and now he's back on that winning ride here. But I thought he fought a pretty smart fight, because Morono is dangerous.
Yeah.
And he throws a lot of. He tried a spinning back fist, and he throws everything into his shot. So he had to be very crafty and mix up. He got takedowns, and I thought he fought a really smart fight.
Yeah, he did. So the main card kicked off, and I have to say it was a beautiful performance by Mr. Fumaga, just literally took Sasaki into her world that he did not want to get into. Beautiful kind of striking, grappling, kind of transitions into the rear naked choke for Fumaga. I was impressed. I thought Sasaki had a great opportunity here to establish himself in the flyweight division again to get a win. And I legitimately, honestly, I know he had an up and down start in his UFC career. I think he had a legitimate chance in this fight. I thought he's got a kid who could show a lot of potential, but God, just got kind of rabbit in headlights. It showed the difference in kind of the gulf, so to speak, in skill sets in that flyweight division, really amplified in that bout.
Yeah, no, it's when you look at that flyweight division, there is clearly levels. There's Demetrius Johnson, and then there's the also runs kind of behind him. And to be honest with you, if Demetrius Johnson wasn't there, that division I think would be really, really competitive.
Yeah.
Very competitive. And for me, he was coming off that loss to Ray Borg, who's fighting for the belt next month in a couple of weeks' time. And he just showed, I thought he would take him down and he'd control him. I didn't think he would be that gung-ho going forward, try to get a submission. I think you realise that if you string 2 or 3 fights together in that division, you're going to get, and you make it look decisive, you're going to get a title shot.
Yeah.
So, and that fight with Borg was very, very close. He could have ultimately got that. It was in Brazil as well, which was, it was weird that Borg got the result in Brazil, but he looked phenomenal here. As soon as he got the takedown, he just advanced to the back, and Sasaki really had nothing for him down there.
No, he didn't. No, nothing at all. And like you said, I think it's good that Fumaga lost because he's only young, if that makes sense, in the flyweight and experience. Guys get pushed up too quick to fight for these title shots, and I think it will do him world of good, that slight delay. You know, hopefully he doesn't get, you know, fast-tracked again to another potential title contender. You know, that I hope they just give him a couple fights, again, just to grow and evolve. That's the only fear I have in that flyweight division. Featherweight action. The boy, Ishihara, I think he made the fight a bit harder than he needed to against Roland Dye. But I'll tell you something, Ishihara has got balls of steel. Literally balls of steel. Like, how he took that many kicks, and they were not glancing kicks. They were straight up, right there in a twig and two berries. Like, I think he gets a performance of the night just for that alone. Like, that was insane.
Yeah, I mean, he started off really quick, and he landed, I think Rolando went for like a spinning back kick or a crescent kick or something, and Taruto just jumped forward with that big left and hit him square in the chin, and he put out a lot of energy in that first round trying to finish him. And he put a hurting on that guy down there, but once it went second round, Dye started to kind of find his range a little bit. He made it close, and I was thinking to myself, this fight's a lot closer than it needs to be. And I ran to get a drink, and then I heard this massive like ooh, and I come back and Taruto is literally on the ground, and he's rolling around. I was like, oh my god, and it looked nasty. Did he get a point taken? Did he get a point taken for that?
He didn't until the last round.
Last one, right? Yeah.
It was the last round he got a point. Yeah, I think it was like, I think the referee just got to a point where, come on, I can't let you have this many accidental kicks. I've got to do something, especially the last one, because the last one, it was straight up. There wasn't any direction. He just kind of walked forward and kicked him straight in the bollocks. It wasn't like, oh no, I went to go and head kick him. It was just walking forward and went, and I went, no, good. I get a break, mega. I like that.
No, yeah. I thought he had an opportunity to finish that in the first there. I like that he mixed in takedowns.
Yes.
We've not seen that now. I know it's not against the greatest guy, but maybe learn from the Maynard fight that he needs to kind of split things up a little bit. But I think what we've seen with Taruto is that if he doesn't get you early, you can get this guy. And I think there's a level to him. He's going to be exciting in some fights with the right fights, but I don't see him ever being a ranked fighter in that division. I'll be honest with you. I'm a fan of the guy. I like the guy a lot, but I just don't think I think he's kind of plateaued. I think he will be the same fighter he is now. He'll be the same fighter in a few years' time.
Yeah.
Whether that's going to be in the UFC is another thing altogether.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same as you. I'll tell you one thing that was made a big deal of was Gokhan Saki against Henrique de Silva, the debut of Gokhan Saki in light heavyweight division. It was, I believe, a tailor-made match for Gokhan Saki, and it turned out to be just that. Gokhan Saki's been training with the likes of like Gustafsson up there in Sweden, so he's had some legitimate guys, Latifi, all those guys, you know, top kind of level UFC guys, so we knew what to expect. But the fact that Enrique bothered to strike with him for so long is what caught me off guard. But one thing I did see, and I hope you saw it as well, was the grappling exchanges did tire him out. Yeah. And if you're going to fight Gokhan Saki, forget striking, just get that cage work on him, because it's horrible. Grappling on the cage is the worst thing in the world. Like, if I were to fight Gokhan, I would be shooting straight in, getting up against the cage, going for those takedowns, just working him out, and just tiring him out, especially when they get to the second round. Take a bit of pop out of those strikes, you know, try to just get him a bit looser, and then maybe want to strike. But mainly, I'd be trying to get him down the whole time. That's my opinion on how I'd fight him. I don't care what anyone says. Why bother trying to stand and bang with a guy of that caliber? He is legitimately a top-class striker. It would be nice to beat him strike and say, yeah, I knocked out Gokhan, but what's the point in putting the risk out there?
Yeah, I love this fight. I actually, I was not expecting much for this one, but I was like literally jumping around watching this, and like Enrique de Silva came out, I think a few days before, and he said he's going to stand with him, and I was just like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, this is a guy that will literally could take a chin off. But all honesty, I thought he did really well in the fight, and when I thought if he can mix in those takedowns, which when once he had Saki against the cage, and he was right before the knockout, he was unloading.
Yeah.
If that fight, and it was like 15 seconds, I think, till the end of the round before he caught that massive punch, which I think it was stopped early as well. I don't understand why
He didn't get a
the
chance.
never followed up. Saki never got the opportunity to follow up, and De Silva never got a chance to defend, which I didn't. I thought was a little bit. I wasn't too keen on. But he was going to win that fight if it went in the second round. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But fight IQ is a huge thing, and he showed that he's not got a hell of a lot. But simply by the fact he's coming out wanting to strike with Saki, that should never be a game plan because you're never going to beat the guy there.
No.
So, but no, a spirited performance from him. But nice to see someone like Saki in the UFC because you know what you're going to get. He's going to come out and he wants to displace that chin off your face.
And they will. I think they will match him up appropriately
with
guys.
Steve Boss.
Perfect. Yes.
Guys like that. There's guys you can put them in with that are going to be exciting.
Exactly. And you know what it is? It gets them a guy now with a name already behind him, give him a couple of bouts which suits his style, gets a couple more finishes, and straight away there, you get a guy who's top 10. How bonkers is that? But then it gets to good matches, then he'll get the guys like, you know, your OSPs, for example, and stuff like that, who can mix in the better grappling, that could really grind you down. And like, for example, I think Gokhan Saki said he wants to get, you know, UFC title and stuff like that. I'm like, kid, you want to just sit down.
Yeah.
You've got no chance. I've got to be brutally honest. I can't see you getting close to beating Gus. I can't see you beating Daniel Cormier. No chance. Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen, mate. But it's nice that he thinks it.
Fucking, I would love to see him versus Rumble.
I know, yeah, that would. Glover. Glover,
Glover as well. So good. But that's good fights for him there.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets matched up appropriately, and then we'll see him in a couple of bigger fights down there.
Or Shogun. Him and Shogun.
Great fight, yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell. Woo, that'd be fireworks. Then you had a massacre standard. Takanori Gomi got knocked out again. Shock against Dong Hoon Kim. Come on, what
it's horrible.
Like
it's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. I tweeted out after because I remember watching him back in Pride and he was brilliant and he's a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
But he's like everything's deteriorated like really badly and like it's just it was just horrible to watch. I was sitting there and just thinking it's just horrible to see he is a legend.
Yes, I agree.
In your kind of last decade or so, if you were watching way back, this kid was legit, like stomping people, soccer kicking people's faces off, and he was just a killer. He was a stone cold killer, but now he can barely take any shot whatsoever, and like he should never be losing to guys like Dong Hyun Kim, never, ever. So, but I hope the UFC, this Takanori Gomi, I think is going to fight on. I think if he leaves the UFC, he's going to go to Rizin. Rizin's going to have him easily there, and they'll match him up appropriately with absolute cans where they can knock out and make him this big Japanese myth legend like he was back in the past. But it's sad to see because he is a legend, but he literally showed nothing in that fight. And everybody, you don't even have to be a fan of the sport to recognise that if you watch the last few Gomi fights, how that fight was going to go. It was going to go the exact same way as his last few fights.
Yeah, it's infuriating that the UFC just use him as a cash cow. They're just milking what they can out of him. I'm like, guys, just let him go. Don't be assisting in this plight. If he wants to fight on, say, look, you can, but not with us, because we don't want to be part of this. Just a downward spiral, mate. It's horrible. I hate watching it because I'm like, look, I'd rather you retire with health, a bit more health than you could do. But if he does go to Rizin, I'm not saying he has to do any Mexican supplements, but if he does, it might help him. But secondly, like you say, give him some cans, get him a couple of wins, and then he might retire with a couple of wins under his belt. So that would help. But yeah, I hated watching that, if I'm brutally honest. I felt so uncomfortable. I just knew it was coming. I'm just sitting there going, right, when are you getting put to sleep then? I hated watching it. The co-main event, though, was ridiculously good. Jessica Andrade versus Claudia Cadella. Yeah, mate, that was literally bloody fantastic. Jessica Andrade was just a non-stop machine again. She has forward, 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 and forward in the repertoire. She doesn't know what reverse is. Wouldn't even know what if you tried. Like, she has no idea. She just goes forward for the kill. Violence. Credit to, like you say, credit to Claudia Cadell. She did do pretty well in the first couple of minutes. Showed some good combinations, good mixing it up. That guillotine attempt was fantastic, but Jessica Andrade is like a mini Hulk. She just threw Claudia like there was like she was a newborn baby. Wasn't even there. But other than that, it was just beautiful violence, my friend. I embraced it all.
It was a really, 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 really fun fight. I was watching that and I was thinking, this is a war. It's a really good fight. And then when I went back and watched it, it really wasn't a war so much because Jessica Andrade was the one that was just handing out the beating. I thought it was actually a lot closer, real time. When I went back and watched it, I was like, oh, that's like that fight was not close whatsoever. It was close for the first 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Gadelia opened it up with a cut on the top of the head, but from there, as soon as I think Gadelia went for a submission and then she tossed her.
Yeah.
From there, she literally beat that ass, and I'll put my hand up and say I was completely wrong in that fight. I thought Gadelia was going to be just the quicker fighter, kind of use her mobility to try and keep away, but she could not keep her back off the cage, and that was due to the forward pressure of Jessica Andrade. And like we were speaking before we come on here, it's just like Joanna has that elite footwork and speed to realise her back's against the cage, she has to move out. So if she stayed there like Gadelia did, she's going to get the same shit that what Claudia got. So smart fight from Jessica, just pressure, got to the ground. And I was surprised how easy she dealt with Gadelia down there. Gadelia had nothing for her whatsoever. So she's put herself right in line again for Joanna. I think I think we're speaking about maybe if Carolina beats Jodie Escobar, which she will.
Yeah.
That's the fight to make, and then you can easily match the winner of that fight against Joanna again if that's something that Joanna wants to take again. Because to be honest with you, she doesn't really need to wait around for these girls. But Jessica Andrade, I think, is going to be a tank at 125.
Yeah.
That's a perfect weight class, I think.
Yeah.
So, and there's lots of good fights there for her. She could fight Joanna again. She could fight Valentina. There's going to be other girls in that division as well.
Jojo, you've got Courtney Casey's probably going to go into 125, I reckon, as well. Like we met her. She's quite a big girl. You know, Rebecca. I wouldn't do Beck Rawlins because she gets smashed. She'll probably lose to Joanne Coldwood, if I'm honest, and get cut. But anyway, I agree. I think Jessica Andrade she's a wrecking ball, and she's fantastic for the women's fights because I think she just is fun to watch. You know what you're going to get. But the problem is, like say, Claudia Cadella can do anything on the ground because Jessica's so strong. So like she had such a good heavy half guard base. Like people who are watching it, it was fantastic. Like the way she had that weight base on her like basically sitting her ass back and just being able to keep that underhook and hold her down was fantastic to watch. And just then amount that pounding that she was laying onto her in guard as well was fantastic. Like she just landed beautiful shots, mixing up with the rights and the body shots. That third round, just like, oh my God, Claudia probably pissed red after that fight because her body just got mauled by elbows and punches. But that was so beautiful about her ground and pound. I literally sat there and went, she has got some of the best top ground and pound I've seen for a while because she mixed up that body shot so badly that Claudia had to block because it was hurting so bad that she was then able to hit the top on her head. Fantastic, honestly, mate. I loved watching it. I quite like the fact that Claudia now is out of that number 2 spot, if that makes sense, so that you've now got the case of like, oh, so you always had like, your JJ, Claudia. I like the fact she's out of it now because it also mixes things up, maybe gives Claudia a couple of fights. She'll have a break, gives her a couple of fights to come back. I like the fact that she's got a bit of time away now. You've got Jessica Andrade, like you say, mate. She could do what she wants. Loving it. Love the fight. Main event, though, bro, was... yeah, it happened. OSP against Okami, who came in at 203 pounds, and that's him at his heavy. That's him full weight, nothing added. OSP probably rocked up, probably 220, 225. It makes a difference, 20 odd pounds. You saw it on the ground. OSP, Okami just couldn't move an inch. But then the strength game came into it. Then you saw how strong he was as well. And then against the Von Flue choke, which, if I'm honest with you, I'm not saying Okami gave him a choke, but why on earth he put his arm around his head?
Yeah.
He knows not to do that. I'm telling you, people, not to do that. Yet he just gave him that arm and then put the choke on and went to sleep. Now, Okami doesn't get knocked out, so he saves a bit of health, but I don't know what they've given him as well for coming back to the UFC, if they're giving him like a 2, 3, or 4 fight deal. Okami probably doesn't have that much in him, fight-wise, length-wise. He's, 36, 37, so I'm not that arsed about what's going to happen with Okami. It's a nothing fight, if I'm honest with you. I think immediately book Shogun again if his knee's okay.
Yeah. I can't make kind of come in here. He came in and knew he was losing this fight, but he knew he was probably going to get fights after the fact. So, but is he going to go down to 170? Which is just killers down in that division. So I thought he came out. I don't know why he decided to try and take him down straight away. At least throw some strikes and at least don't come out and just try and go for a knee. And then as soon as I seen that left arm trying to go over that head, I was like, "You are fucked. You are completely dead." And it's still really impressive to see like the Von Flue choker,
Von Flue, yeah.
Yeah. So it's still, but the thing is, that guy is a legit veteran of the sport, and he's probably seen every aspect. He should have knew that was coming against the guy who's probably the best guy in the sport at doing that.
Yeah, he's got it's his third one now in the UFC.
So that was a go-to move, but he couldn't stop it. So maybe it's one of those moves that Vince has literally got down to a T, and once he gets you, you don't get out. So you have to kind of game plan against that in the future if you're facing OSP. But I think the most logical fight is definitely the Shogun fight. Like, see that, is it a logical fight because OSP absolutely starched them in the first fight? So the rematch really shouldn't have happened. It was only happening because it was in Japan and Shogun's a name, and they needed probably someone to face him. So who knows? I would put the fight together again. I think it was a Brazil card. Maybe it might be a bit too soon, but if you can get one later on in the year, I can definitely see them two facing off again.
Yeah, I'd do it again only because it was OSP all the way, and I think it would be again if I'm honest with you. I think I'm still going to say it time and time again. Shogun should be getting his ass down to 185. He should have done it years ago, and I think he'd be absolutely mint at it. Lyoto did it, and he looked fantastic at 185. Yeah, fair enough, when Lyoto came up against Rockhold, he got an absolute drumming, and he had a war against Chris Weidman, which was a fantastic war, but I still think Shogun at 185 would be so much better, but he's going to be adamant sticking at 205, but crack on, that's fine. But yeah, I'd do it only because there's not a lot in that light heavyweight division, bro. That's probably why I'd do it. It's almost like the same guys in that top, say, 8 almost all the time. So it's getting to the point where you think you're going to have to start rematching, boys, because unless we want to get a guy out the top, maybe top 15 rankings, then that's putting a risk. Then that's a really high risk, low reward fight. Not a lot of guys are going to take it either because they want to push themselves up the rankings. They have to fight each other, and that's I think that's what they're going to have to start doing. That I don't know if you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to make fights in that division end all. It's just, if you're not in that top, it seems like the top 10 guys have faced each other at least once all the time. It's just one of those divisions where
Yes.
there's no real fresh matchups.
No.
Or very little. That's why Volkan is like kind of like a god at the minute, because he's coming through and he's a fresh matchup for Gustafsson. He's a fresh matchup for Cormier. So yeah, it's interesting to see. But
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, breath of fresh air.
I think the one thing about this Japan card that stood out to me is the product that the UFC have isn't strong in Japan. The attendance
downhill.
Like, it's gone down. It keeps going down, but the attendance in this one was 8,571.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's nothing. I don't know how much of a factor it played with Shogun being injured, but even still, it's went from UFC 144 was 21,000. Edgar versus Henderson, awesome fucking fight anyway. And then you go back, and then it just goes down 14 and a half, 12, 10, 8, 8.5. Like, that's a drop, guys. I think, is it the fact, do you think maybe that it's that they don't have a strong Japanese kind of contingent of fighters that are, strong in the UFC? Do you think it's the marketing that they do, the fact that they don't maybe go often enough, and it's, what like, for me, I just think the fact that it is a big factor is it's not a Japanese brand, it's a US brand, and I'm not saying, but that's just the way Japan is. Look at Pride. Pride was success because it's a Japanese thing. I know there was mafia stuff or triad, whatever you want to call it, involved, but it was their thing. That's why it was so big. Risen, look at Risen, fucking huge. UFC. Bigger brand, can't even scratch that market. They're trying to do it in China. I think they'll have the similar effect in China as it does in Japan. They just can't scratch it because it's not their market, if that makes sense.
It's a I don't know how, because remember UFC 144, I think it was Henderson, Edgar, and that was, I remember at the time it was a big card, being promoted as a big card, but since then they've really not kind of followed up on it at all.
No.
And it's a shame because, some of the most probably respectful fans come out of Asia and Japan especially. They know about the sport probably as good as anyone out there. They keep themselves very quiet through the fights, are very respectful, but they know the sport like straight down the line. So, but it's just whether it's UFC don't put on enough entertaining fights, or they like the first event was a pay-per-view card, so I can see why that was a bigger card. But how you drop from 20,000 to like half that in 3, 4, 5 years, however long that is. That's a big drop off, like a really big drop off, and it's a shame because I still think Asia. I don't know whether it's because it's hard because ONE FC is huge in Asia.
Yeah,
it's an Asian brand, obviously.
Yeah,
Risen is skyrocketed. It's a Japanese brand, and then there's Road FC. It's out that side as well. So there is lots of very successful promotions out there. I don't think the UFC are putting in the work.
No,
I don't think they care. I think it's just, even they've tried things like the Ultimate Fighter Japan, didn't really work. So I think the product. I think the Japanese just don't like the product, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you think about Pride, there was like a bit of slapstick humour with, the star of the shows and all that kind of things. And the way they do the show as well was very different to what the UFC do. I do think that it is the product. I think it's the brand. And you have to cater for the market you want to attack. If you want to hit Japan, you've got to maybe cater a little bit more towards them than you would do for the US. Or the UK for that matter. It is certainly like a niche market, and the potential is huge. And I think they're just bloody idiots. They can't figure that out. Anyway, we'll move on, bro. Bellator, surprisingly good card, with some big results, my friend. Let's talk about the big knockout, I think, that everyone's talking about, which is Aaron Pico against Justin Lin. Hell of a hook. Whoo! Hit him on the chinny chin and dropped him, and it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a nasty knockout. I think it's actually overtaken I can't remember what it was originally that I liked, but I think that's my knockout of the year. I really, really liked that knockout. I thought it was a huge, huge shot. And people have been saying that, people that are closer to Pico are saying that this guy's hands are legit. So if his hands are, if they're like that in the progress, this guy's going to be really tough to beat because you're not going to out wrestle this guy. Nobody's going to do it in Bellator. Nobody, probably nobody in the UFC is going to do it either. This guy's legit one of the best wrestlers, grapplers there is in the sport across that lower weight division. But if you're throwing hands like he was throwing, and this guy, this Justin Lin, I've seen people say, oh, he's a can. This guy's not a can, he's a 7'2" guy and he talks to some guys as well. And he just got hit with he got pinged straight on the chin.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful win. Knockout, like you say, was class. Let's go to Mr. Roy Nelson getting a victory. I know, very rare. It seems these days, but you kind of got a kind of ideal fight, y'all. The heavyweight division is pretty weak in Bellator. For Roy Nelson, he is a kind of brand in himself. He's not going to be the best there ever was, there ever is, but you know, it's a character that he is. I'm not super arsed about his fights, but he did fight in the card. He is going to be in the Bellator branding, and I think they'll market him the right way.
Yeah, I mean, Roy Nelson's going to do well for himself in Bellator. He's going to get favourable matchups. He's going to make probably a ton of money because he's allowed to have as many sponsors as he wants, pretty much. So he's going to make himself some pretty decent cash, and he's going to face low-level opposition like that guy faced at the weekend there. And he'll probably go on and face Czech Congo again, and that could end up being pretty terrible the way Czech Congo's been fighting recently. So. Yeah, I win, but nothing really special about it.
No, not at all, bro, not at all. Then you had the co-main event, which I have to say was one fight that got me really excited when it got announced, was Paul Daly and Lorenz Larkin. And those boys did not, I don't believe they disappointed anyone at home. I think they did exactly what everyone wanted them to. And Paul Daly showing again that if you stand with him, you are most likely going to have a really, really sore head the next day. And Lorenz Larkin just got clocked with that left. What was so crazy was it the fact that I think Daly threw the spinning back left and then just came back. Not much. There wasn't loads of room, but he somehow got that power. And you just saw Lorenz kind of stand and went, actually, that really hurt. It just was dazed standing, and then he just got clipped on the way. He got clipped down. Whew, but man, what a win for Daly! What a finish! That's a good one for his record. In the fact that he got Lorenz Larkin, who was a UFC signed fighter, and was doing okay.
Yeah, no, big win. I edged Larkin in that one. I thought he was just going to be too technical and use leg kicks and too aware of that big left hand shot of Daly. But as I say, he threw that spinning back fist. I think it maybe hit him in the ear or round about the back of the head, and he's like, his equilibrium was kind of off, and then he hit him with that left hand. And I mean, if I was to come into MMA and pick anybody like one shot, it'd be obviously Conor McGregor's left hand, but I think Paul Semtex Daly has got just as big a left hand as what Conor has. Just Conor, I think, a little bit more faster with it. And a little bit longer with it as well, but it's incredible. It's a really good. It's a good win to have in your record, Larkin. It's just another one of these UFC fighters that came over and they're losing fights. Yeah. So like the UFC are they're losing good guys. Larkin would be a top 10 guy in that division, but they're cutting them at the right time, and they're going over to Bellator, and they're not really showing too much. Benson Henderson, who we're going to speak to in a minute, is another example of that. So, a good win for Daly, though. A nice win. Gets him back in that mix again for a title. McDonald or Lima, if somebody falls out, he can maybe jump back in there. Wouldn't like to see him against McDonald again, but puts himself back in the mix again.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like I said, Patricio Ferreira against Benson Henderson. Henderson losing a split decision. Now, that is a rarity hearing this out loud, but it does it in Bellator almost all the time now. Split decisions were his goal. That was the way he won in UFC. That's how he kept his titles, was by, I want to say, lucky decisions. And there's the funny memes of Jesus saying, "Don't worry, Bendo, I've got you." And it was almost the case, everyone made a joke about it, how he'd squeak these decisions, and now he's not getting the rub of the green. And Henderson's not really shown his worth at Bellator, and I think if I'm Bellator owners, I would probably want to start wondering how much I want to keep him around, because it's a fair whack of money they're paying him. You want to see a guy going out there getting finishes for a start. If you're a UFC world champ and you can't finish the dudes and you're losing all the time, what's going on?
Yeah. He's, I'm a fan of Benson Henderson. I do like watching him fight. I have done for years. But I think all those split decision wins he had many moons ago they're definitely coming back in him now. I mean, the Edgar fights, that was one of them. So he's losing close fights now that back when he was in the UFC against better opposition, ish. Because I mean, Michael Chandler I think is legit, and the Pitbull brothers, he's really solid himself. But he's just, I don't know whether it's because he's left the big show. He's probably making himself far more money, so he's more comfortable. Maybe he's not putting in the work he was when he was in the UFC. So, big loss. He's lost to two top guys in that one. I think this one was at 170. I think it was, if I remember. Was it weight or weight?
No, this is one. He lost his debut. Yeah, it's 155. He lost his debut at 170. Yeah.
So, but I mean, for Patricky Pitbull, it's another big win coming off that knockout. Yeah, beat Josh Thompson and Benson Henderson. So you're putting yourself right in line. I think there's a little bit of beef between the Pitbull brothers and Michael Chandler. So that's a fight that's probably going to get made. Interesting, a really good fight nonetheless. But they put on a really good card at the weekend, Bellator, and they seem to be making themselves a little bit better. But it's interesting. I find it really interesting, all these UFC guys that are coming in, and they're not really doing great. Rory McDonald's a little bit exception at the minute. But he's facing, people are totally writing off Douglas Lima, and I think
idiots.
Idiots, because Douglas Lima is solid, and when he turns up and he's injury free, that guy can beat the best welterweights in the world, and I think he's got a huge possibility to beat Rory McDonald, but it's a tough match for both guys.
That's probably one of the most exciting fights, one of the most exciting welterweight fights that have been made. I'm loving it. You saw Ben Askren commenting about the UFC guys, or saying people, and basically making a comment about how people outside the UFC must suck, and making a little dig there. And you're right, guys outside the UFC are quality, and there's guys out there doing it. They're beating guys who are in the UFC now. But do you see this as a very smart thing for the UFC? Do you think the UFC is sitting there smiling going, see, that's why we didn't re-sign him, because we knew that was going to happen? Or is it a case of the UFC didn't know, and it's just the fact that there is good quality out there of the UFC, and it's just what's going to happen? It's just a fight game.
Yeah, no, I think Joe Silva and Sean Shelby, I think they did really well with letting these guys go, and to be honest, it's kind of shown that they were right to let these guys go.
Yeah.
So they're looking better on that side. But maybe it's just, I mean, the Bellator people that have come over. I mean, Eddie Alvarez won the belt, so there is legit fighters out there. I think Bellator definitely have legit fighters within their organisation. So yeah, it is what it is. But I just find it interesting. All these guys that have been in title fights, high level fights, are going over there, and Benson's losing. He's lost 3 out of 4 fights in the UFC Bellator, so it's interesting.
It is indeed. And I think what was the other thing I liked? The bobblehead Fedors. Oh, I won't lie, pretty jealous. Having one of those would be something cool in that jumper. And again, that's Bellator having that little something different, niche little thing, 5,000 of them. Great idea. Do you know what I mean? Loved it. Bro, we're going to go on to the questions that we've been thrown towards us. And we are going to start with a gentleman by the name of Adam Sean, who is a top bloke, has shown some great support in the podcast and promoting it. Always have a good time with this gentleman. He is on Twitter. His Twitter handle is Adam Sean. That's SHONE 292. He has a couple of questions. Selfish little bastard. But anyway, here we go. So, is Usman Kamara ready for the top 5, or did that fight flatter him against Morales? I think Marais, sorry. I do not think it flattered him myself. Will, what's your thoughts on that fight and his performance and the potential for him in his next fight in the UFC in the welterweight division?
Didn't flatter him at all. I thought it's what he needed. I thought that he's been kind of trending towards that. And I was saying beforehand, he needs to let his hands go a little bit more because he's grappling. Nobody's going to really grapple the guy, I don't think, too much, at least not yet. And he just showed that his all-around game is coming together. So I thought it was a big performance from him. He's going to get himself a big fight. He's calling out RDA, which is a fight I think makes sense. Mike Perry's also calling out this one, which I don't think it's a good fight for Mike Perry, but Mike Perry's got a few screws up there. But no, I thought it was a great performance, and hopefully we get to see him before the end of the year, and see where he is moving into 2018, and put himself right in the picture for a title shot as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'd love to see him against RDA. I think it's an ideal matchup. The pair of them are both on the rise. They're both, looking good at 170. I think it's the kind of matchup you make, especially with the guys that are available at 170 at the moment. It's probably the smartest one. Unless they do something with Ponzi. He's like an outsider that they could throw in that mix after his performance against Gunny, but we'll have to see because not heard anything from Ponzi. Things have been quiet after that big performance win. It's we don't know what we're going to hear from him. So yeah, that'll be interesting, bro. Let's go to then. Okay, here, yeah. So time on the mic post-fight can be just as important as full career, as the result of the fight. What is your best and worst post-fight microphone conversation talk commentary? So, worst one, okay. For me, it's Porn Boitello with the comment of "Don't fear me," which was the weirdest thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen, when he was on the microphone and he said, "Yeah, where are my fans?" And the crowd cheered. They were like, "Yeah, we love you, yeah." And then he went, "Okay, you ready? Don't fear me." And then everything just dead. Everyone was just sitting there going, "What the fuck does that mean?" It was just weird. The guy in the mic was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Don't fear you. Got it. Right, is that a brand? I don't know. Is that a t-shirt you're making or whatever?" But, it's proper weird. But it was funny. Man, it was just one of those weird things. He must have stood there and went, "Shit, did I just say that out loud?" It sounded way better in my head. But yeah, man, that sticks to me. What's your worst one that you've seen on the microphone, bro?
There's a few people that when they get the mic, I'm like, really just like Sam Alvey. This is one that I think that I really like Sam, but I really want him to lose the fight because then if he wins, they're going to give him the mic and he's going to ramble utter shit and he's going to say something stupid. So that's one. Tyrone Woodley's another one. I don't think really helps himself by asking where his fans at and then everybody's just staying quiet. So there's a couple of guys that I think are I hate listening to them on the mic. It's a shame because Woodley, I think, is a guy that
he's nice.
He is a nice guy and he's a smart guy. I like listening to him when he's breaking down fights and so on. But people just can't seem to connect with him. I really like watching him as a fighter as well. I think he's actually a fun fighter and he's brought himself along since he came in from Strikeforce. But sometimes like that, the one thing I think it was in New York last year was where's all my fans at, and literally nobody said shit, and it's just everybody was looking at him, and it's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's kind of Steve Thompson has like an affiliate with New York, so and obviously most of them are Conor fans, so no one wanted to care about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your best ones? Best people on the mic?
Can't he look any further than Conor McGregor? Just a gold mine on the mic. Pretty much everything that he says seems to get made into a shirt, gets made into a flag, gets made into a banner. I think the Diaz brothers, Nick Diaz, back in the day when he beat BJ Penn and he's shouting out for GSP, I thought that was awesome, stuff like that. But if I'm looking at guys at the top, you can't look anywhere other than Conor McGregor. The guy is legit. Just he can rip you apart. And what I like about Conor as well is that we know he can be funny, and we know he can take you out, but he's also really respectful as well. So during when the mic is on him, you're going to get really good, but he's also really respectful to pretty much every opponent that he faces, win or lose.
Yeah.
So I like that pretty much. Connor's the man.
Yeah, Nate Diaz when he called out Connor.
Yeah.
Now that was
Yeah.
gold. That was gold because he's holding the mic and Joe Rogan's sitting there going. You can see it, Joe Rogan going. I know they're telling me to pull it away because you can't say this, but I'm not going to because it's too beautiful. Keep going. And at the end of it, he goes, yeah, you can't say it on national TV. Oh no, I only just got the microphone back. He's so much stronger than me. I'm like, Joe, you're a fucking gorilla. Get the fuck out of here. Rampage Jackson, just comical value. Crazy horse, man.
Yeah.
That dude was hilarious on the microphone. That dude was just batshit crazy. For comedy value, I think that was what I liked. I liked it because I thought you never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and he was quite an entertaining guy to watch on a microphone. Next question, bro. Okay, bit of a long one, but of recent times, we've also had it recently with judging decisions, etc. So you've got like the Canelo Triple G decision was controversial. MMA has seen some controversial decisions. Basically, Adam has the question of what's your best and what's your worst decision you've seen, and then how do you fix it? So again, it's a two-part question. One part's shorter than the other one, so we'll go with the worst decision or decisions we've seen. What ones have you got there off the top of your heads there, bro, that you can think of for worst decisions?
My worst one, and it still pisses me off to this day because I was there watching it live, is Michael Bisping, Matt Hamill. I thought it was pretty clear as day that Matt Hamill won that fight, and watching it live and even watching it at home, Michael Bisping did not win that fight, but yeah, I had that feeling that he was going to fucking get it, and he got it. So that's one that always, I think because I was there live and I seen that, I think it sticks with me a little bit more. We could probably say about 5 Diego Sanchez fights.
Pretty much, yeah. Nearly every decision.
Yeah, because he clearly loses 30-27s and wins 29-28. So, yeah, I think that one, the Bisping Hamill, is one that I don't like too much. And there's a few, and I love Diego Sanchez. He's one of the guys that I've never ever gotten to meet, and he is my favourite fighter. But there's 3 or 4 fights that he clearly has not won, and the judges have gave it to him. So
yeah, that is it's. I think they just like Diego Sanchez a lot. Is probably what it is. Or they scared of him. I don't know. Machida and Shogun would be certainly up there. And what was the other one? We said. We talked
GSP and Hendricks.
GSP Hendricks. That was we talked about that. Yeah, there we go. That was one that was a bit skew with. Let's say I had it for Hendricks. I legitimately had it for Hendricks. And I watched it back again. I watched it back, put it on mute. Still had it for Hendricks. I just couldn't get my head around it. But it's the GSP effect, I suppose. Or again, it could be lack of knowledge from the judges. So how would you fix this though? Because like I've said to you before, and I'll say it again, I think for me, get the judges out of being cage side, get them outside of like the crowd, so to speak, headphones in, so it's no sound, TV monitor so they can see every angle. There's no excuse. I know they have it for different angles, but I think they should all have the same view so they can all, because the TV always gives us the best view. Because the producers are there to change the camera angle, to give everyone else the best view. I think make them watch it on TV, silence, notepad, score the fight. That way, there's no way the crowd can coerce them if they hear a big way when a punch hasn't landed because their homeboy's throwing a punch. And that's one of the things I think for myself personally. The other one is I think they are going to get better, the judges, and it is getting better. It just takes a bit of time to weed out the shit ones. But you've got Mark Goddard, for example, who goes around, and Ben Cartledge, who work around UK and Europe doing referee and judge courses. So there's no excuse for anyone who's a judge to not educate themselves, or even to maybe go just to get a bit more information, to get a little bit more knowledge. I think that they're doing a great job. I know Big John McCarthy goes around, and Herb Dean goes around doing judging courses. I think it should be kind of customary that you have to do these courses, even refresher courses like every year or something, and maybe sit them down, do some kind of form of a test maybe to pass them so they can be kind of allowed to judge. something like that. But yeah, something like that I think would certainly help.
Yeah. I've always been one for maybe previous fighters being a judge. Ricardo Almeida does it in New Jersey. So good fighters, good guys, good guys, not these like shady guys. We need good guys that have got their own gyms, bring up fighters into the sport, are looking to make the sport better in the future. And it's just like martial artists at heart, not these guys who are on the side that probably barely ever watch the sport outside of being there. So yeah, but just the one thing that I really liked from ACB at the weekend, and it's the first time I've ever heard of it, but they had 5 judges.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
And I really liked that. I thought that there was. I think Luke Barnett got 1 judge out of the 5, which I didn't really agree with too much. But I like the idea of 5 judges. But I do like the fact you need respectable guys in there, and it was like even I watched the boxing at the weekend. It was
Fury and Parker.
it was a different one. It was Jorge Linares against Luke Campbell, and they had the 3 judges. And actually, I shouldn't really say it, the Scottish guy was wrong. The Scottish guy he gave it to he gave it to the British guy, and I didn't see that, no way. I thought it was close, but you've got to take away that favouritism. And even though he's from Scotland and the guy was from England, you should just have complete judges from separate parts of the world that just have no affiliation, because stuff like that, like, I know he's from the UK, but you shouldn't really. I'm just not a fan of that. I like total judges that know the sport and just have no affiliation. I've seen there was a video that Luke Campbell was actually speaking to this guy, this judge, just after he won his Olympic gold medal years ago. So it's just things like that we need to kind of move in both sports. But in MMA, I just think I like the aspect of having previous fighters who know what's going on in that cage, who knows what's happening to judge fights.
Yeah, that's an awesome one as well. I think there's 5 judges. I like the idea. I think it'd be difficult to get 5 judges for every card all the time, I suppose, because then you start to think, does it dilute the quality of judges by having more judges, if that makes sense? But yeah, if you can get 5 top draw judges, happy days. Yeah, I think you get better decisions. Other question. Let's go here. Okay, so one gentleman called Thomas Young. We know this gentleman here. His Twitter handle is TomBomb17. Totally wrote that when he was younger, didn't he? Okay, so next domestic fighter into the UFC. I love this question. You love the question. The question is not as simple as fighter. Like I said, bro, there's that many weight classes. It could easily happen for anyone at any time. Like we said, I've got this list here of guys. You got Rani Saeed, your Banner boy, your flyweight kid who you love. You love Rani. You've been pushing for me at UFC, and I agree with you. I think he would definitely be fine in that UFC flyweight division, holding his own, especially because he's only going to be starting out non-ranked, let's say. So he'll have an acceptable kind of level of opponents as well to build himself up into being a perennial top 10 guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think Rani should definitely be signed to the UFC. If they're looking for guys to add to that 125 division, Rani's one of the best guys in Europe, if not the best guy in Europe. So they should definitely put him in. We're coming off, not last week, but the week before, we had Nathaniel Wood. Unbelievable performance. I hope he stays around in Cage Warriors a little bit longer, and just make sure, like, a couple more defences. Then he can come. The UFC is going to be there in a couple of years. He's only 24 years old. So give him another year, 2, 3 fights maybe. And if he can defend that belt, he's going to be down as probably the best Cage Warriors champion of all time. Maybe even move up, and he could fight another guy for another belt and make a super fight. But there's a couple of guys. Sam Creasy, who fought in Cage Warriors as well, is another good guy. There is Lou Long, who's got a fight announced. There's so many good guys within Britain and Ireland that could easily go to the UFC.
Yeah, Chris Fishgold and Carl Moore, 2 more additions that, especially because Chris Fishgold's fighting soon. He's, gets another win. And London card coming up, it kind of almost would make sense that they probably might snap him up, even though it's another fight to add to the 155 division, which is stacked. It would not surprise me. Carl Moore, I think, makes a more logical signing just because of the lack of depth they have in that weight class. I think it would be an idea to maybe snap him up in the next, say, 6 months or so. If they go to Dublin, I think he's a shoo-in, if I'm honest. I don't see them looking past him at all. Yeah, there's so many guys. And there's just a couple of good guys that we can think off the top of the head of the name. Let's go, bro, to Fraser Smith, who threw us a question. Thank you very much, bud. His Twitter handle is FrazS1886. Proper hip dude, nearly 140 years old, and he's got Twitter. That's awesome. Okay, so who would you like to see Gregor Gillespie fight next? Because he had a stellar performance. He's really kind of put his mark down as a quality grappler, striker, pretty much an all-round solid fighter. I've got a couple of names, bro. Who did you think would suit him?
Oh, jeez, I kind of forgot about this question a little bit, but I think David Tamer was definitely a guy I thought he could match up well with. Yeah, even though that I think that it's Tamer's ground game is nowhere near the level what Gillespie's is, but I think on the feet he's faster, and you see Gonzalez get off on, and I think that Tamer could do so. But that division is just so many fighters that you could match him up with so many guys, and he'd have a competitive fight. And I think in the majority of them he would look very good. But see, once he hits that top 15, top 20, then it'll start getting tougher for him. So I like the Tamer fight. I don't think that's a bad fight to put together. It'd be exciting.
No, I think it's a great fight. Yeah.
I think there was a fight he was supposed to have, and it was Vince Pichel. I thought that was kind of interesting at the time, but supposedly he turned down that fight for when Gillespie was supposed to fight his last one there, and Gonzalez stepped up. So interesting fight. I quite like that one, Pichel versus Gillespie, because Pichel has got a lot of aggression, and he's just a tough guy. He's just genuinely a tough guy. So it would have been a good fight.
It would have, bro, yeah. Josh Emmett got fight booked recently, so he's off the list. I had him on. I thought he would have been a good matchup. But yeah, Magomed Mustafaev, what do you want to call him?
Josh Emmett, he's dropping down 2 weight classes.
I saw that, yeah.
He's dropping down from 155 to 135.
To 135. Wait, no, it's not. It's actually at 145.
Is it 145?
It got corrected, yeah. It said 135 when it got reported by, what's his name, MMA fighting, Jarrell Cruz, or whatever his name is. I forget his name, sorry. Yeah. But because someone else said that, it went, he's dropping down 20 pounds. And he said, it's been corrected, featherweight. Yeah, I know. I saw it as well and went, what the? He's going down to 145. But then again, we'll see how he does at 145. He might pop back up again. He might, I think a lot of guys will try it and then they'll go, that's just not nice. I don't enjoy it.
What I don't understand as well, like, you've seen guys drop divisions and not look anywhere, like Anthony Pettis. Literally shelling himself. So I don't understand why you do that, because...
Dustin Poirier?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
And now the two of them are fighting the mix to get put in a perennial contender title shot for 155. And you're like, Ross Pearson, I know he's not the best 155er, but looked poor at 145, looked a lot better at 155. Just, Diego Sanchez. Brad Pickett.
It doesn't suit. It doesn't suit.
Unless your body is not dying to get to that weight class, you'll be fine. But if you're cutting like hell to get there, it probably won't work out well for you in the long run. But yeah, man, that's the questions, and that's the podcast, I suppose, done, bro. Unless you want to talk about the Calvin Gastelum and Aslan Silva, or do you want to save that for next week when we potentially do a little bit of fun next week with some stuff?
Yeah, no, well, the only thing that I think that we should maybe talk about is James Vick. Got matched up with Joseph Duffy at UFC 217 in New York City, which is a really fun fight. I am a big fan of both guys. I know that there is people out there who are big fans of this. Joseph Duffy, best fight pick. Stan Levy is a huge fan of James Vick, but it's a very interesting matchup because both have a a boxing background. I think a professional boxing background as well. So it's a really interesting fight card here already. 6 card in New York, 3 title fights. We've got that fight, and there's other really good matchups throughout as well. So
Yeah,
I can't wait for that card.
That card is, it's beautifully adding up and stacking up. Because at first people were a bit dubious about what matches they were going to do, and I think because of the last one they had at MSG. But I've got to be honest, bro, it's turning into mustard. Absolute mustard it is. And I'm up for it already. I'm already jacked. I'm already pumped for it. Can't wait for that fight card to happen. Yeah, bro, that is a fight that's going to be sick. Absolutely sick. I'd have that start off the main card, definitely. Great fight to start the main card off.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to end up doing, because if you look at 217, you've obviously got
you got 3 title fights,
UFC, and then you've got Joanna, you've got Cody Garbrandt. Who else have they got in that card? Let me have a quick peek. Stephen Thompson against Masvidal, so that's probably right below that. And then if that's Duffy against
Vic would be 5 fight main card.
But saying that in New York they had. That last year in New York they had 6 fights on the main card, so who knows, but I think that's your fight to definitely put in there as your 5th fight in the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that'd be sick, yeah. Oh
solid
gosh, that card needs to hurry up already, doesn't it? Bloody hell. Yeah, it's going to be sick, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not watching it, you're fucking idiots. I will definitely be staying up to watch that one live. Yeah, bro, that's pretty much it, yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this UFC 116 card coming up soon. We'll be talking about that shortly. And again, lots of fight incidences happening outside, like matches getting made. We're going to try and do something a bit different next time for everyone. It will be fun, but we'll talk about that off air, because we're not going to give everything away. So again, subscribe, talk, communicate, comment, iTunes, SoundCloud, Podcast Addict, whatever the fuck it's called, whatever.
Yeah, that's something. Like, come and follow us on Twitter, and we will follow you back.
Yes, I have been.
Because sometimes I'm really bad for that. I'll say, "Come follow us," and then I'll never follow you back. So we will do it in the podcast. We'll follow you back, and just let us know if we don't already follow you already.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been trying to go into it every time when people add, and then just quickly add them all on. Yeah, follow them. It's just keeping on top of them. Yeah, but yeah, bro. Thank you, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We'll be back soon.